Wondering how to get out of hip pain? In this video, we're going to talk about 3 key strategies to help you beat hip pain without drugs, pills, or surgery. Hey guys, it's Matt Shu from Upright Health, where we help you move beyond pain, fear, and limitations. Quick tip, when you're done with the video, if you scroll down to the description section, you will find helpful links there, including links to some of our do-it-yourself hip training programs, so be sure to check those out. I spent several years in my 20s with debilitating hip pain. Things were so bad that I couldn't get in and out of a shower without my hips snapping and popping and grinding. And even just sitting for more than a few minutes felt like my hips were rotting from the inside. So I know really personally how frustrating and how anxiety-inducing it can be to have constant hip pain. Now, I want to share 3 key ideas with you that will help you in the long road ahead as you journey out of hip pain. These are key ideas that we share with our clients that we work with in person and also with the people who use our online do-it-yourself programs. They are key ideas that you need to keep in mind so that you can continue to make progress. The first tip is to set an ambitious goal. It's not enough to just want to be out of hip pain because there's lots of ways to get rid of pain. You can just take a pill. You could numb yourself by spending all your time on the internet. You could be playing video games. You could just try to listen to music and tune things out. You could go to sleep and not feel pain. Not having pain is not enough of a goal. I did all the things I just mentioned as strategies to try to not feel pain, and the end result was that I would just end up with more and more hip pain waiting for me because I wasn't actively dealing with what was causing my hip pain. What you want to do is start setting some clear goals that you can make progress towards. This helps focus your decision-making process and focus your energy towards accomplishing really concrete things. So for example, I wanted to be able to get in and out of the shower and step over the edge of the bathtub without snapping and popping in my hips. That meant that I had to solve that problem. I also wanted to be able to sit without feeling like my hips were being eaten by termites from the inside. So I had to change my habits and change the things I was doing to try to work towards those goals. Setting these clear goals makes it a lot easier to make sure you're doing the right things. For example, for me, my hips used to ache and just feel so bad that I would have no energy. I just feel really fatigued and I'd want to sleep in the hopes that my hips would feel better afterwards. But what I noticed was every time I would wake up from one of these fatigue naps, my hips would feel just about the same or worse. And just the act of lying down on my side actually made my hips feel bad. So recognizing that, I knew I needed to choose some other strategy to try to move me towards my goals. Now I'm gonna ask you to do something that people find pretty challenging. Pick the ambitious goal, not just the little goal. So it wasn't enough for me to just be able to sit or get in the shower. I also wanted to be able to play ice hockey as a goalie again. I also wanted to be able to throw a kick again without feeling like my hips were going to fall apart. Whatever your ambitious goal is, say it. Write it down, be clear about what it is. It's really important because it channels your energy in that direction. We had a user of the FAI Fix program, Greg. He wanted to be able to do Thai kickboxing again, but people were telling him that he was going to need to have surgery to fix his hips, and he didn't want to have surgery. He set that ambitious goal of being able to do Thai kickboxing again, and because he set it and he was dedicated towards it, he worked with his body and was able to achieve it. Greg's story is really inspiring, and if you want to see a video interview with him, you can find the link in the description section. The second tip is to keep moving. Now, some people misinterpret that and think I'm saying you should be squatting 400 pounds, deadlifting 600 pounds, and you should be running 10 miles a day. Look at me. That is definitely not what I'm saying. What I am saying is you need to figure out what exercises, what stretches, what combination of movements helps your hips feel better. You want to learn what your body is asking for, what specific exercises need to happen in order to get your hips to feel good. A lot of times people will say, hey, I want to be active. I'm still being active. I'm walking 3 miles a day. I'm doing 40 minutes on a stationary bike. I'm still doing CrossFit 4 days a week. Aren't I doing a good job being active? And the thing you want to pay attention to here is we're trying to find exercise that makes your hips move better and feel better. So if you're limping around for 3 miles a day and dragging your leg around and compensating all over the place, that's not actually an exercise that's making things better. And if you're doing the stationary bike for 40 minutes and you get up and you feel like, ooh, I'm stuck and I'm hunched over and I can barely walk for like 10 minutes, that's not an exercise that's helping your hips move correctly. And for weightlifters, CrossFitters, people who are doing heavy lifting, if the way you're doing it is reinforcing bad movement patterns or is reinforcing muscles that are already doing the wrong thing, then you're making things much worse. So you need to be experimental and be willing to take a step away from what you're used to. If you want ideas for exercises to do, be sure to check the description section for links to our playlist on hip videos, as well as some of our online hip programs. The third and final tip is do not give up. After I set my goal to play ice hockey as a goalie again, it took me several years to get my hips feeling good enough to be able to do it. If I had given up along the way, I never would have accomplished the goal, but I kept chipping away at the dysfunctions in my hips. You're gonna find that as you are learning about your hips and exercising them in different ways, that different things show up. Maybe you discover a hamstring is super tight on one side and your quads are really weak on another side. Maybe you find out your adductors have never been stretched before, which is very common for men, and you need to do that. And then 3 months later, you actually have to do something totally different because you've uncovered some other set of muscle discoordination, muscle weakness, or muscle just blah confusion. One of my clients, Roland, is a great example of somebody who's working through a lot of different issues over time. Basically, he had a hip surgery to try to repair his labrum, and it didn't do anything to relieve the pain that he was experiencing. So when we started working together, we started working with his muscles and figuring out what was just gradually going to make things better. It took about 6 months for him to feel like, wow, things have really dramatically changed. And it took another 3 months to feel like, yeah, the hips are no longer much of a limiting factor. And we're just working on other issues in his legs to get him feeling strong enough and comfortable enough to be able to play basketball again. Be patient with yourself and know that your progress is not going to be linear. You're going to be making some mistakes, you're going to hit plateaus. It's going to take you time to figure out what your hips need in order to feel good. I've been messing with my hips and other people's hips since 2007, and every week I still learn at least one new way of adjusting an exercise or maybe a completely new exercise. And oftentimes in a week, I'm learning like 3 or 4 different ways of modifying something so that I can have somebody's hip muscle do something different or have my own hip muscles do something different. And there are going to be times where you are frustrated beyond belief. I've hit those times many times in my life. And here's what I'm going to tell you. If you keep your goal in mind and you continue to work at it, you will make progress. I have found personally that every time I hit that super high level of frustration where I was ready to just say, this sucks, I quit, I'm not doing this anymore, if I kept going and learning and trying to figure something out, the next week I figured out a big breakthrough that helped me get to the next stage. That has happened so consistently, it boggles my mind. So when you're frustrated, just return to the goal, that thing that you set already back when we talked about step 1, keep working towards it. All right, guys, that's going to do it for this video. If you're looking for ideas to help you train your hips, scroll down to the description section where you're going to find links to our playlist of videos for hip exercises, as well as our online do-it-yourself hip training programs. Now that we've gone through the top 3 strategies, I want to ask you, what is your goal? Leave it in the comment section down below. If you like this video, please click the like button and don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss out on any future videos. I hope you found this video useful and inspiring, and I hope you remember that pain sucks. Life shouldn't. Hey, I also wanted to say thank you to Peter H. for his $5 a month pledge on Patreon. If you would like to support the Upright Health YouTube channel too, then head to the link you'll find in the description box. We really appreciate your support, and you'll be helping us help you.